Peace. Yeah, a wonderful conversationalist.
Kevin's favorite, shirtless John Locke.
I was just about to say, we get shirtless John Locke. What a treat.
Hi, John. It's good to see you again.
Get longer hair in the afterlife.
That seems kind of...
He looks like hippie Jesus.
That's fun.
I'm just saying.
Deja vu. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Michael, Kevin, Kristen, and I are here for Lost Season 3, Episode 3, Further Instructions, all about John Locke. Kevin gets to enjoy more John Locke. So,
And enjoy is not the word I would use.
Come on, he got to go shirtless for you, Kevin.
And listen, it's not that I have... Daddies are fine. That's not the issue here. The issue is John Locke is insufferable. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
At least he was silent for like a good beginning part.
Oh my gosh, that was my favorite part. But then also not, because then he was being an idiot. And like, he's picking up the sand and dropping it. Like, just right in the sand. Just right in the sand. And then he has a notebook, and he's got like 6 pages in the notebook, because they're on an island. There's no store. You can't go buy a new notebook. And he's using each page to write one note. Like, just cross out the old note and keep using the same page. I can't stand anything he does. I've given him no grace for anything.
Echo from a polar bear. You neglect to mention the bit where he saved Mr. Echo from a polar bear. That's pretty brave. I will say, though, this is easily probably my bottom 5 episodes of the entire show. I really hate this episode.
That's very fair.
Hold on, Mike. I'm gonna. Who else saw the polar bear? The man who's having visions of the dead guy, and who else?
Was that a polar bear? Are you saying there's not a polar bear? There were like an unexpected.
I'm saying, if Echo was attacked and half eaten by a polar bear, he'd be ripped to shreds. The only one who sees the polar bear is the same one who's having visions in a tent and can't talk. So I question whether the polar bear was really there.
Oh my god.
I agree, it didn't make much sense, but I think it's just because this episode doesn't make much sense.
Well, anyway,
this is where we're at. This episode. I'm so sorry ahead of time to everybody.
Yeah, well, so that's one way to kick off an episode. If you want more of these rants immediately in these episodes, subscribe, like, share, comment.
Like, comment, subscribe. I dare you in your comment. I dare you in your comment to defend John Locke. I will not accept it.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
well, with that, Kristen, do you want to hit the fun fact?
do I? I don't even know. Like, do we just like let Kevin go? Like, we could all leave and he'll still be on this whole rant. Come back in about an hour. No. So there are a ton of fun facts for this episode. So I'm gonna get to the numbers first because that's not so fun. Like, that's just like we have to say and mention it at this point, right? So on the gun paperwork, that obviously when we know when Locke was pulled over and they looked in the paperwork, these are things that like you really have to be searching for, but we're bringing up the numbers anyway. But on Locke's address, it was 25164 Franklin Street. And the zip code was 94099. Those are fake addresses. Those aren't things in California. So they put the numbers in there specifically for that. Locke's birthday is also November 15th of 1946. And then Echo's stick shows quite a few of the numbers, the 4, 8, 15, and 16. And then Eddie's cop number is 84 and then 023. So those are the boring parts. Let's get to the fun part. You guys ready for this?
Yes.
I'm also interested to see if Michael and Kevin know these things. The first one, the airport groups that like when Boone, and yay, Boone's back. Let's just yay for that. But in the airport groups.
Where was Shannon?
Nobody cares.
Why I hate the episode. We got Boone. Are you kidding me?
Thank you, Boone. The airport groups are shown in real time. Locke does not know this. Locke was in the hatch. Last he knows is that they like Jack is with Michael with the like they're all together, and he has zero idea that Sun and Jen and Saeed have taken off because he's been locked in the hatch. So he is viewing this in real time, so he would be like, "Why are these people grouped together?"
Why, Kristen?
Because of his vision. Is that where you're going with that?
Because he's special. He's seeing things he has no idea about. He has no reason to know. The island is showing him what is happening across the island. You can't deny it. You can't. You're just a hater at this point. There's no denying it.
I am just a hater, but like, Michael.
Yes, Kevin.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk later. There's a blooper in this episode as well. The cop tells Locke that he can bring him in for hitchhiking. Hitchhiking is not a crime. It's not illegal in California. That thing.
I thought that was weird, but I just assumed that maybe that's an American law. I don't know.
No, that was confusing.
There are some states that it is illegal, but California is not one of them. So, major blooper error. A deleted scene would probably help Jake in this moment. Claire walks into our two newbies, which are named Nikki and Paulo, having sex in Jack's tent, and that's how we were supposed to be introduced to Nikki and Paulo in this episode, but they deleted it.
Well, okay, that's probably not going to help me, find out why or figure out why there's two random people all of a sudden thrown into this series.
I mean, we got half the cast missing. They got to do something back at camp, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That was a big discussion in the fandom at the time. It was like, who the hell are these people?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, they all of a sudden have speaking roles.
Right. I mean, I guess
they're in a position to be yelling at Hurley.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess it's fine because we do get their names in the scene that we do get them, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'd be interested to see that scene. I'd be interested if that like made the rounds online.
I mean, there's literally two of them. So that's how we're introduced to them. And then later on, Nikki comes in, apologizes to Claire, and starts talking about how Paulo is really bad in bed. So I was like, okay.
Funny.
It's like all this like TMI that Claire did not need to know and us as an audience did not need to know. It's pretty funny. This episode was supposed to air before Glass Ballerina, but they switched them. So that's another fun fact for this one. This is my favorite one. So Charlie, when he is having the moment with Locke, he mentions the trees. Oh, I hear they're great conversationalists. It is a direct reference to Lord of the Rings when he is hanging out with the Ents.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
He spends the entire second movie talking to it like a talking tree.
Yeah.
So they put that line in there.
That's funny.
This is where I'm a bad nerd because I tried to watch Lord of the Rings and couldn't.
I can't either, so I'm with you, Kevin.
Sorry, I'm a bad nerd.
Go ahead.
I tried. It was too like dramatic. I was like, I don't watch.
No,
stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm glad we can make Kristen shut her camera off by not
already.
watching Lord of the
Like,
Rings.
Yeah, all I gotta do is talk shit about Lord of the Rings, and Kristen will turn her camera off.
It's my favorite thing. I love Lord of the Rings. Also, because Dominic Monaghan is really, really good in those movies too. He's really, really good. So, anyway, shall we get into the episode now?
Sure.
All right.
If we must.
I know you're not looking forward to this episode, Michael.
It's fun to rag on.
We do start this episode with, we were talking a lot about parallels in our last episode here. We have Locke waking up in a very similar fashion to how we started this whole series with the pilot and Jack waking up. Maybe they are the same. You never know.
No, the production just wants us to like John Locke.
Anyway, so John wakes up in the jungle, and he sees Desmond, and we get a brief moment of Desmond. So at least Michael even said it when we were watching. At least we know Desmond's alive. So yay for that.
It's just a minor thing. I really thought Desmond was dead. I remember thinking that it was such a powerful moment when he turned the cases. Turning into season 3, I didn't expect Desmond. I thought he was just this brief character that died in that moment, and I was like, "Hey, Desmond's back."
Right. I was the same way. I definitely was like, there's no recovering from that one. But, I was also kind of like shocked to see any of them survive that. So it was.
Yeah.
Right. I remember thinking like, well, they should all be dead, but they're not going to kill all of them. So like.
Yeah. I figured that John Locke would probably stay alive and the other two might meet their fate there. But I didn't think they were going to kill John Locke. So.
I wish they would.
But anyway, so as he sees Desmond, he goes to yell for Desmond, and he cannot talk. I mean, Kevin's favorite part about this entire episode is he can't talk. But as he stands up to go and, I'm assuming, chase after Desmond since he can't talk, he is almost taken out by Echo's stick. Another like moment of just like, where did this stick come from and why did it take that long to fall? It was the moment. It was the island trying to hit him upside the head with a stick, apparently. But Charlie and Claire are hanging out as Locke returns to camp, and they're like, oh, John's back, random. And he's over there literally breaking apart his entire shelter and storming off. And I love that Claire was like, well, don't you think you should go check? No. We're not, like, we're not friends. Why am I going? That was your
Claire's his friend. Why doesn't Claire?
Right? Yeah. That's what I'm like, why don't you go? What do you mean sending me over there? But thank you, Claire, for sending Charlie, because we have an entire episode of very sassy Charlie, and I'm here for all of it. Like, he took over Sawyer's role, and I love it. So with that, Charlie goes over to Locke. This is where they have this huge argument. He can't talk. Where Kevin's having issues of him picking up sand and things. But again, this is where we get the start of very sassy Charlie, and I am here for it. He is basically, he's like making fun of Locke. Locke's about to lose his mind. That's where we get the great tree line. But he says that he's going to make a sweat lodge. So he's now come back into the camp with the paper that Kevin loves to bring up as well, with the paper for each line, and wants him to stand guard and help him with this sweat lodge, leading us into our first flashback of this episode. This part, I think, is, I like the flashback in this episode way more than I feel like I wanted more to the story. It like gives me enough where I'm like, I could be intrigued to see this as a longer thing, but not enough to like care, because you know, it's kind of, I'm with Michael, this is kind of like a filler piece, like we get our people back.
I want one more, and it's at the end. I want one more part of the flashback. I want a resolution.
Yeah. But Locke does pick up a hitchhiker, which we have found out is not illegal, even though they think it is. And they are pulled over. But we see that they are kind of just bantering back and forth. This is this young kid that Locke has taken under his wing. How are you? What's going on? Where are you going? He's like, oh, I got to get out of my bad like living environment. My dad's drunk. My mom is dead. And then they're pulled over by this cop. There's guns and groceries in the back. Great line. Guns and groceries. Like that would make me, as this kid, Eddie, be like, why do you have a shit ton of guns? This is scary. Like, I don't think I want to be hitchhiked by you anymore. But he also comes up with a lie immediately because the cop brings up the hitchhiking thing, and he's like, that's my uncle, and they carry on their way. So kind of a bigger opening here. Jake, walk us through your thoughts on Locke.
Yeah, so him going mute was interesting. But you know, I was like, okay, so there's some at least temporary side effect for him being stuck in the hatch when it imploded. So I kind of was like, okay, you know, maybe there's some sort of ramifications for now from that happening, if they're not going to kill off anybody. And then, you know, when we go to the flashback, I'm like, are we going to get something else besides John Locke crying over his dad? Like, I mean, I was kind of just like hoping we'd get something else. And then, you know, Eddie, who is the actor that plays Eddie? Because
Justin Chatwin. He was on Shameless. That I had to look it up. I was like, where do I know him from?
Okay, I almost thought it was Aaron Paul, but I was like, no, that's not Aaron Paul. But like,
it does look like him. So this actor is like much maligned because he played Goku in the terrible live action Dragon Ball film. Cool choice to just pick a white guy for this. Japanese.
His last name is Chatwin, but yeah, I'm sure he can play Goku.
And it's one of the worst films ever made. It is disgusting as a fan of Dragon Ball Z. So whenever I see him, I was like, Timu Goku, fuck you.
Oh my god. Yeah, but I didn't. So I figured that Eddie was going to be important to at least the episode, and I was like, okay, this character, he's probably going to show up in later episodes just because we've had that with like Clancy Brown and, you know, and some other characters of like, they generally are going to keep bringing characters back. Sometimes they are one-offs, but sometimes it's like we'll actually see them again in other flashbacks, or they'll pop up again in something related to the island. So But I didn't think he was a cop. And then when that was revealed, I was like, okay, this makes sense. So
maybe he'll be a cop since there's always cops in the show. I remember at the time thinking, and when the episode first started, and I had to like run through like, wait, what happens in this? Because I have watched it, but I was like, what happens in this? It always makes me suspicious when he like immediately after picking him up gets pulled over. Like if I'm John Locke, I'm like, what did this guy do? Why is he attracting cops right away? So like, in all the times I've watched it, I've never trusted this character. And then as the episode goes on, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He's a narc. But like every time I watch it, I'm like, I don't trust this guy. So I would like to make fun of John Locke for once again not picking up on something obvious right in front of him that he shouldn't trust people, but whatever, it's fine.
Is it that obvious? I don't think so. I think
it's pretty obvious. I think it's pretty clear.
On John Locke for zero reason.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. I think as we get proven later in the episode, he really shouldn't trust this person. But of course, as the psych profile accurately said, John Locke will just trust you. You tell John Locke that he's special, and he's gonna be like, okay.
He's a trusting guy. I do think that the reveal of Eddie being a police officer is actually a pretty cool reveal, and I didn't see it coming. I was like, pretty cool. My problem with this, I also think we've talked so much about how amazing the John Locke episodes are. So it's like when you go into a Locke episode, I think your expectations are already a little bit higher, and then you get this, and it's like, really, this is what you've got for Locke? And I just think this flashback just doesn't really feel like John Locke. It doesn't feel like a John Locke episode. Like, I don't really buy that he's in this little commune. Like, when does this take? I don't understand.
He's in this little commune where they grow a lot of weed. It doesn't seem very like John Locke.
What we've seen of him up to this point, it feels like such a bizarre story that's so out of place.
It doesn't seem very John Locke, but John Locke is having visions of people who aren't there on the island. So, like, maybe he does have a past history with substance abuse and psychedelics. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was weird as well because like we all of a sudden are finding out he's found this community, but it didn't seem that way in the past episodes because we obviously had Walkabout that was right before he got to the island, and it seemed like he was not in like a frame of mind that he had people in his corner at all, like this episode showed. So
this is why I bring up that I would like more of this, because it's like, how did John Locke get here? How did this all take place? And I just feel like the flashback is very rushed, and it's like I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more information in there, and so that's why I say that this could have been interesting, like an interesting story, but like this again, I'm with Michael that this is a
I don't like it because it's about John Locke.
that. Continuing on, obviously Locke has built this sweat lodge now. Again, sassy Charlie moving. He's like, love the indoor fireplace, like all these things. And then as he's mixing up his concoction, he's like, you're not doing drugs, are you? We have a zero tolerance. And need for you to start punching yourself in the face.
That was so good.
Charlie is on one this episode. But he's like, make sure you stand guard. He's writing his little notes that Kevin hates. But he's like very serious. And Charlie's like, yeah, dude, I can read. I got it. Go in your little thingy. But he's sitting in his sweat lodge. He's getting his, the water already. He's having his moment. And what happens? Yay, Boone! Boone comes back.
Oh my gosh, Shannon's brother is back.
No, nobody cares. With that, Boone has returned. Yay for me. It's even better because she's not there. So it's like, because they were always tied together. So I'm happy about that. But with that, Boone, which makes complete sense because obviously he has the feelings of Boone, and Boone was kind of his like lapdog for a long time. And
he got killed, yes.
Yes, and I can make fun of Boone too. But Boone has now said, come on, like we gotta go. You gotta figure this out and clean up your own mess. And now Locke has to go back to the wheelchair too. This is all a little interesting here in his little sweat lodge moment. But they go through the airport. This is where we get this airport vision where all these groupings are coming in. And Boone's like, nope, can't help them. Nope, they'll help themselves. Like all these things are going through everybody and all of that real time that we talked about. And then of course we get to an escalator. He makes him come all the way up. Like he's like, come up here, crawl out of that wheelchair, and like come up. How uncomfortable would that be? Shirtless and on an escalator. Those things, that has to hurt. Like not fun. But he does reach the top of the escalator. Boone is of course all bloody how he was when he passed away. And he's like, clean up your mess. Like, let's go. But when he does that, we see that Echo's stick has appeared on the ground. So we know that it is referring to Echo. Locke finally comes back into the sweat lodge, and then like this part's a little like creepy. It's like one of those moments, and the bear like comes out of the fire at him, which he immediately exits the sweat lodge. I would too. Like there would be some major problems there. But now all of a sudden Locke can now speak. Kevin is now sad, but Locke can now speak, and he tells Charlie that he has got to save Mr. Echo. And so they take off on their trek to go and find him. Bringing us into our next flashback. This is where they arrive at this farm, this community that we're like, Locke makes sense here. But is a big family. They're all sitting down at this giant ass table for dinner. I do love that. My favorite part about this dinner part is like when Mike stands up and he's like, hey everybody, like Locke brought this guy home. This is Eddie. Like everybody say hi. And he's like, Eddie, this is everybody. No, it's not. We just passed like 50 people that were like working. Why can't they eat? What's happening here? They are part of the
important people.
The important people are at dinner. But here's a moment too that I think that this is another manipulation of Eddie here, because obviously we've just had Locke's prayer of like, thank you for like letting me find this place and like making me not so angry anymore. And he sits down and Eddie goes, thank you. Like he's almost kind of tearing up. He's like, thank you, John. Thank you for bringing me here. I needed this, like all these things. And like Locke's like, oh, look, I did a good thing. And this is going to later be this whole like surprise of it all for Locke. So Jake, walk us through. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Michael pointed it out, but it's funny that Boone from the dead has grown his hair out. So I thought that was
Michael.
He's better looking than me.
But yeah, the vision in the airport and wheeling a shirtless John Locke around the airport was, I mean, it was very strange. As this show tends to do, is show very strange visions. But yeah, I did not pick up on entirely that it was all of the groups that were together. Like that's really, really interesting. But like now that you say that, I do realize that, because like Jin and Sun, and then Saeed comes over and taps Jin on the shoulder. You have Sawyer and Kate, and then Jack's like shown right after them, and then Desmond's
Ben's doing
the one thing.
Yeah, and Hurley's on like putting the numbers in, and so.
But he's separated now because he was heading back. Yeah, it's kind of again, Locke wouldn't know all those things.
Right. So that's really, really cool to me. And yeah, I mean, a cool way to bring in a dead character for something, you know, maybe important. So and then yeah, the flashback again. It's just so weird to see John Locke all of a sudden find this random community of people. And again, I did not really think anything too much of it with Eddie being a cop at the time. I just was not thinking that. I thought Eddie again had some significance, but I didn't know that that's what the significance was for him.
This is probably my favorite part of the episode. I actually really like this entire section. It is cool to see Boone back as much as I rag on him. And it's a little moment, but I do really like, we talked about him talking to Echo about his regrets about Boone and acknowledging his failures. So like when he sees Boone, it is quite a heartfelt moment where it's like, oh shit, like, man, I'm sorry. And then Boone even repeats the iconic line that we've discussed a lot, like, a sacrifice the island demanded. Yeah. And again, Locke is embarrassed. He looks so embarrassed that he said that. And then all the little groups, and I really like putting them in the environment of the airport. I think that's a really cool way to show it. Like, this is how we arrived on the island, coming through the airport. So to put them all in that environment was really cool. And I think it was in this section, but there's one little Easter egg as well, that Eddie's wearing a Geronimo Jackson t-shirt. and they say you like Geronimo Jackson, and Geronimo Jackson was one of the albums that Charlie and Hurley found when they were in the hatch.
Wow.
One of these like made up bands that they reference a few times. So that was another Geronimo Jackson reference that people keep count.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring it up too.
I couldn't remember when it happened. I was like, I think it's...
No, yeah, he takes his jacket off and you see it's Geronimo Jackson and they talk about it at dinner, yeah.
Yep.
All right, Kevin, go ahead. We're waiting.
No, I just... John Locke's. Let me go ahead. What did the island tell me now? Whatever, bro. The bear attacks him, but it's not really a bear because he's inside the tent. So, like, he's seeing things. He's taking his own drugs this time instead of putting them on Boone. It's fine. So that happens. And then we have the flashback in the weird commune. Again, I was thinking that Eddie was, like, a bad guy. And that was the secret. But, like, I never trusted Eddie this whole time. The like obvious playing of Locke, like it's on display. It's like if you can't see Locke being played at this point as it's happening, like you're as blind as John Locke is. Like it's right there in front of your face. Like, my parents are terrible. I'm just so lonely. I just need a place to go. And like, oh, thank you so much. You're so special, and you made me feel special. And he just eats it up because, like,
I think any person
So
with
heartless.
a heart would do the same thing here.
But it's the same thing every time. It's the same thing every time.
Seeping into your brain right now.
It's the same thing every time. So here's the thing. Do those things, when people say those things to me, saying things like that to me, does it pull on my heartstrings? Do I have a reaction? Of course I do. However, if that has happened to me multiple times throughout my life and the rug gets pulled out from me every time it happens, I'm not going to continue to just blindly believe every time somebody says it. So, like, of course, I don't trust this person in part because I know that, you can see that he is, like, saying all the perfect things to John Locke to manipulate John Locke, and John Locke's going to fall for it again. And then I'm going to be the jerk because... but isn't he's just so nice? He's just such a nice guy. He's just a nice guy. He's lonely because he's an orphan. And like you can be a lonely orphan that I feel bad for and still be an idiot. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Like that is my issue with it as well, because I this entire flashback is set up to be another story where Locke thinks he's found some place and it gets taken away from him, and it's like another layer of that he's alone. But it's not as powerful as all the other stories we've had of him that feel really real and grounded and stuff with his dad. Like this in comparison, just like, yeah, he loses this community, but like, I don't care about this community. You shouldn't need the law. They're drug smugglers. Get rid of them.
But also, like, it was, 2005, so like attitudes are different. Like, they're growing weed. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Also, it makes you laugh thinking about where we are now because California made weed legal. So it's like,
Right.
Of course, that was where it's
They were
at.
ahead of their time.
They were ahead of their time. Mike and Jan, we gotta love them. With that, I'm gonna bring up. Listen, we could sit here all day because we know Kevin's gonna do it every time we get to a pause and talk shit about Locke here. We have to give props to Charlie with all the sassiness because he has taken over the role of Sawyer, and they are so on point here. They are great. Like talking about like I would hate for you to start punching yourself in the face. Like
he's taking no shit from John Locke, and I love that about him.
So funny.
It's hilarious. Like he is the one-liner king in this episode. So
Yeah.
thank you.
It might not make much sense why Charlie would help him because he just realistically tell him to bugger off. But they clearly just wanted to have Locke and Charlie interact, and it is,
It's because Claire told him to.
Yeah, I'm glad they did because Charlie is by far the highlight of this episode.
Oh, 100%.
Really pulls the weight of the episode.
But yeah, I also like. I'm still like. I don't know if you guys saw when we were watching it. I'm sure you did. Like my reaction when Claire says it. It's like, what? You're the one who is buddy with him. You go ask. Like I feel like I'm not doing shit for that man. Like absolutely not. But no, I mean, thank you, writers, for giving us all the Charlie sass because I'm here for it. Moving right along here. Obviously, they have headed off to go find Mr. Echo, and they come across what was the hatch. Giant hole in the ground now. What I find interesting about them looking down into the hatch, and Jake, I don't know if you caught it because they do it kind of quickly, is you see a bunch of different tunnels. And I always watch it, I was like, why are there tunnels? Like, is that for all the different rooms of the hatch? Like, because, like, what are we looking at here? And so it took me a couple watches to realize that this is, like, the computer room, right? Where all this happened. And those are leading into, like, out of that room. But I was all like, what is that? So,
yeah, I didn't notice that.
yeah, for me, when I first watched it, I was like, does that mean that goes like I was on a whole nother thing, but yeah, it's just literally the hatch. The hatch is that big. Like, it didn't seem like that. But yeah, so now giant hole in the ground. And they are searching for a polar bear. Yes, we are talking about a polar bear this episode. Who would have thunk it? But I also love that Charlie's like, Sawyer like killed the polar bear. And Locke's like, he killed a polar bear. Like, we don't know how many are out here. But also
we know as the audience that there's 2 cages, so
it's true. It's true. Well, and also it's funny though too, because if we remember when Sawyer, like when he's like figured out your complicated gizmo, and he's like, bears only took a couple hours. And he's like, how many were there? So, like, how many were in each cage too? So that's the other thing.
That just made me think. I don't think I've ever thought about before. Do we think this is the same polar bear that attacked Michael and Walt in that episode? Because it didn't get killed; they scared it away.
Right, I think it is.
Because it's close to camp.
Yeah, I think it has to be that same polar bear. If there's supposedly 2 of them, Sawyer killed one, and like we've seen the 2 cages and at that side of the island for the others. So I mean, I think that it makes sense to be that second one.
With that, they hear the polar bear. We've got this active kill going on, and Locke says it's time to run. So they take off running. And they kind of stop for a moment in the clearance, and they hear something. Locke throws his handy dandy knife, and we hear, ah! I love this moment that you're like, that's not good. But we go and explore this, and we clear some, leaves away, and it's Hurley with his canteen, like, dude. Like, Hurley, almost dying. I think, Michael, you made the joke. He almost took another one from us.
Right. Would that have been another sacrifice the island demanded?
Poor Hurley.
Yeah.
Poor Hurley.
If someone dies, it's because the island wanted it to. It's not Locke's fault.
It's not Locke's fault. Not the fact that he threw the knife or anything.
Yeah.
But with that, Hurley starts to let Charlie and Locke know about the situation that's happened. They took us. I was supposed to come back and tell everybody. And Locke is like half listening to this entire thing. He's on a 1-track tunnel vision mind. And he's like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And he's like, you're going to go back to camp and tell everybody like they asked. I got something else to do. Like, I've got to save Echo. And so they separate from Hurley at this point. But what makes me laugh again is sassy Charlie is on like the warpath, because even Hurley is not safe. He's like, just saw polar bear's active kill over here. You might want to hurry your butt back to camp. And he's like, what? How are you gonna leave me with that? Like, just I'm alone. That's so messed up of Charlie, but hilarious. With that, they continue on their journey, and they come across the polar bear lair, cave, whatever you want to call it. And that leads us into our next flashback with Eddie and Locke bonding over this. This is the cringiest part of this flashback, when like Eddie's like, everybody's looking for a daddy, and I'm like, okay, stop. This
Weird.
so gross in this moment. But they are bonding over other things. They're going out. Obviously, they're doing orchard duty and things. But this is where he starts to question the greenhouse. Like, what's going on over there? Oh, they might need help with fertilizer. He's like, no, come on, let's go to the orchard. And he wants to know what's going on. But then, you know what? I know what's going on, Locke. I need to go in there. And he's like, I will talk to Mike and Jan. So that is our end of that part. So Jake, walk us through it.
Yeah. It is funny that Eddie just tells John Locke, yeah, everybody needs a daddy. That is definitely weird. I don't know, maybe he learned those acting chops from Goku. But yeah, it just that, and like we we're seeing, okay, there's something going on where John Locke, you know, what was he doing? Like, we haven't really known about anything else that John Locke has been up to. And then, you know, we're obviously going to find out later they're doing some illegal stuff in there. That I did not know what that was about. And yeah, and then the whole polar bear thing, it's cool again to see that come back into play. Although, you know, we've kind of been talking about, okay, was Walt responsible for stuff with the polar bears, and now Walt's no longer here for the moment. So, you know, what's
Or
actually what?
I said, or is he?
Yeah, well,
because remember, Jack's like, he didn't send them anywhere. Put them on a boat. They're still around.
Yeah. We don't know. So I don't know. Again, I want to find out answers as to why there's still polar bears on a tropical island or how they're able to survive out here. But, you know, whatever.
Definitely.
Really weird, but whenever I watch this episode and they talk about Mike and Jan, I just think of Michael and Jan from the US office. It's like whenever they come up, I think this is like their secondary business.
This is their retirement.
Yeah, like after making candles didn't work out, they started growing weed. The Hurley segment was cool. It was it's nice to at least we're seeing the characters from the dock and like the hatch area again. But because the first two episodes we obviously dealt with our characters being taken by the others. But I just feel like I'm being negative, but the hatch implosion was such an epic moment, and there was so many questions coming out of it, and I'm just like this is our like reintroduction to them, and they do set up some cool things, and I think we're gonna get into like questions about Desmond in a bit, but yeah, on the whole, I don't have much to say about this a little bit.
This is the point when I started to suspect that Eddie was a cop. But my thought was that, yes, they were making a bomb, but that John Locke didn't know anything about it. So
yeah,
that was what I thought. I was like, oh, he's an undercover cop. He's like, he knows this plan, and he's revealing it to John Locke, and John Locke has no idea. And John Locke is just as surprised and like, that's not happening because he doesn't know. That's where I thought this was going.
I do like Locke's reaction where he's like laughing so hard. Like, what do you think this is? Like a bomb? What we're blowing up? No.
Right.
Like,
but this is too where I start to question, like, why do you care so much about the greenhouse? Like you know what I mean? Because he even brings up Locke's like, you're a guest here, like you need to take a chill. But this is like, I was expecting something way more like sinister than just growing weed. Like I felt like this is where the letdown of the episode comes in. We're like, that's it. That's it. But whatever. Anything else on this section before we move on? All right, moving on. Sassy Charlie continues. We love it. We love a good Sassy Charlie. The whole, like, the hairspray that he's like, John, I don't know if I should tell you. Like, I love this.
that was funny. That's the line of the episode.
It is
like Locke laughs at it as well. Like, even Locke's like, that was pretty funny.
No, he's like, that was a good one. Thank you, Charlie. But no, Locke now has entered the lair of the polar bear. With that, Hurley, they drop over to Hurley. He hears something, and it is Desmond, who is naked. Naked Desmond, thank you. But why? Why are your clothes off, but nobody else's? Okay. It obviously had something to do with the key. The key has taken the clothes. But I also love this interaction with Hurley. He's like asking all these questions, and then Desmond's like, sure, okay, let's have this conversation. She's like, never mind, you're hurt. I'm so sorry. I don't need to know. It's just one of those moments of just, like, you really want to have this conversation now? I'm standing here in the middle of a jungle naked. Like, just give me something.
Kristen would have been like, hey, take my shirt. It's fine.
I would. Well, you know, it's not Sawyer, so I would have just probably...
Right, this is Desmond, not Sawyer, so she would have hesitated.
I would have hesitated, but then I probably
Desmond,
would have. But then
I think Desmond, she still does, but she hesitates. Sawyer, there's no hesitation.
Yeah, there's no
Close
hesitation
off.
for Sawyer. But yeah, no, I'm right there with Kevin. I'm like, okay.
Can I be disloyal to Sawyer?
I'll find him eventually. It's fine.
Something that I did want to ask, because Hurley hands Desmond the tie-dye shirt. This is a year after, or a couple of years after Rupert came out on Survivor. Did they take inspiration from Rupert and want to give Hurley the tie-dye? Because Hurley is sort of that like Rupert-like character, I guess you could say, if you were.
No, I think he's just the like stoner adjacent person who's wearing tie-dye.
Right. I don't know. It just made me curious, because Lost took a little inspiration from Survivor.
I mean, I always have a fun fact here of like, we remember when they were sorting out luggage in the very beginning of all this, Hurley was like, "Oh, you found your bag. That's so awesome." Like, you never hear Hurley talk about his bag, but obviously they've made Hurley the bigger character. So it's not like how the rest of them could just grab random clothes. Like, Hurley would need like his own bag, but they never like, you know what I mean? He just keeps randomly coming up with these clothes, and you're like, well, obviously you found your bag, but like, you know, they never, like, because they made it seem like a point of everybody else finding their luggage, right? And they never showed Hurley find his. So I just thought that was interesting. The other interesting part about this that is still a question on everybody's mind is John steps on a toy truck. Where is this toy truck coming from? Millions of questions that we will never get the answer to. This toy truck out of nowhere. But that is what is leading us into our next flashback, where Locke shows up at the greenhouse and he's like, "Hey, are Mike and Jan in there?" And the guy on duty, like on guard of the greenhouse, it's like, "Oh yeah, they're looking for you, bro." He's like, "Perfect timing. This is great.
I'm looking for them. This is great."
So he goes into the greenhouse, and Mike and Jan are having a fit. They are doing all kinds of things. They're on a whole mission of where's the money? Where's the documents? We don't have time for that. It's chaos is ensuing in this greenhouse. And this is where Locke finds out that he screwed up. We have an undercover cop situation. Eddie is undercover. He's fresh out of the academy. And you brought him home, and he's been here for 6 weeks gathering evidence. And Locke's like, no, he was hitchhiking.
If you want to know why I don't like John Locke, just watch this scene. They literally hand him the file. They're like, "This is the guy." And he's like, "That's not true." "It is true. It's on the paper right in front of you."
Yes, so he is in denial a little bit, but also for anybody that's ever, like, again, I mean, it happens to Locke a lot, so I don't know why he's so shocked at this point. But for anybody that's ever been like, "Wait, no, like, that makes zero sense. Like, I know this, so I can understand the denial, but maybe not from Locke because it's happened to him 5 million times. But yes, they have this massive weed growing operation, and that is why we need to like run from the feds. That's what's happening here. But again, I remember this being a massive letdown. That I'm like, they're growing weed. Like, I mean, I get like. What, like, especially in the time frame, because this was obviously before people were more open and things to that, but I was just like, you guys made this out to be like something massive.
They're not like this. It seemed like they were like the next Unabomber, and instead they're just like a bunch of hippies on a commune.
Right, yeah.
And like, let them be. Let them be.
All right. So walk us through. Jake, I want to come to you. What do you think about this toy truck?
I legitimately didn't even pick up on that.
You didn't pick up the Tonka truck?
This
is a reminder that Jake is like 15 years younger than me, because I was like, "Oh my gosh, my childhood is in the cave." And
yeah,
Jake's like, "What's that yellow thing?"
I did not pick up on that. I saw him go into the cave, saw Echo, saw the polar bear, but that is one detail I did not notice. And
he like focuses in on it. Jake, what are you doing? Did you fall asleep in that
No,
moment?
I think Jake didn't realize that's what it was. I think you had to be alive and making memories in the like 80s and 90s to know what that was.
Do you need to tell everybody our ages here, Kevin? Like,
well, I said 80s for myself and then 90s for you two, and to like make sure everyone knows that Jake is a sweet innocent baby. He's not making memories until the 2000s.
Yeah.
I will say I was 15 days away from being 80s too. I managed to.
I don't know why you're saying 90s. I was not born in the 90s, but okay.
I'm just letting people believe whatever they want to believe.
And I love that the teacher here can't do math, but yay for you.
I am not trying to out your age. You're trying to out your own age. That's your problem.
I'm not, but I'm also going like it's not a thing. It's not a thing. Michael, Kevin, any thoughts on this toy truck from you guys?
Again, I'll be back to positive Michael at Loves Lost next week, I promise. That's a good one. But this is just another one of those things where sometimes Lost just throws things in to be like, ooh, like, what's this? It's a truck. Where did that come from? It's like, it's just a truck. I don't know. Some people lived on the island and they had a truck.
I think my theory that I just like had and then dismissed and like didn't think about it was that like there's bones everywhere, right? Like there's bone. That cave is filled with bones, and I know because I had those Tonka trucks that I played with in my sandbox. Like I knew that was a toy, so I just thought like, oh, we're just showing that like a child also died. Moving on. Like that was as far as I took it. Didn't think about it.
I will say, Jake. Apparently, these two did not care. I spent, and this is not a spoiler for anything because it literally means nothing. I spent the rest of Lost like waiting to find out what this truck meant, and then the show ended, and I'm like, they never brought up the truck.
Okay.
I'm upset about this truck because it just seemed so random to me to have a toy truck in a cave. Unlike I haven't been like a kid got eaten by a polar bear. I was like, there's something.
Yeah,
there has to be a reference to this truck. No.
Right, a kid died.
The only other
thing, the polar bear eats everybody.
The only other thing that it makes me think of now that we've said it is like, oh, was Walt stuck in the cave for a bit, playing with the Tonka truck? But that very quickly I think has been dismissed. So
yeah, I think the headline here is don't think about the truck too much.
Don't
it's not going to be relevant.
That's why I told you don't do it.
Can I just say as well, because everyone likes to rag on Locke, can we just take a moment to appreciate that a polar bear is a savage animal. It's one of the most dangerous animals in the world. He goes in a cave with hairspray and a fire to save Echo. Like, that is brave. Whatever you think of him, that is brave.
I mean, yes. I'll let him go on his rant first, but I was going to bring something up.
I was just going to say, I genuinely do not know if this is like some kind of hallucination and the polar bear is not real, or if the writers just did not understand how much of an actual threat to humans polar bears are, because an actual polar bear would not just like keep Echo alive, just like hang out, like, no. So I genuinely do not know, is this like actually a polar bear and the writers are just like using a polar bear to like do whatever they want the plot to do, or is this like a hallucination that like that's not really a polar bear, it's something else? I genuinely do not know.
Charlie did hear the polar bear as well. They ran through the jungle away from it.
Okay, there's also like a smoke monster that like makes train sounds in the jungle. So like I genuinely do not know what is going on with this polar bear, because it makes zero sense. That's not, a polar bear would have just eaten Echo and been done.
Oh yeah, sure.
First of all, the first thing I have to mention is thank God you put the stupid tiny hands down, because good Lord. But also, I wanted to bring this up specifically for Michael here, is because right before this happens, when Charlie is being his sassy self, he gets serious for a moment and says that he watches a lot of nature shows on the Beeb. And Michael, tell everybody what Beeb means.
Justin Bieber?
No. This is pre-Beeb. The Beeb is the BBC.
The BBC. Listen, I love the BBC because it brings me Call the Midwife, so I'm a big fan of the BBC. But
well, you're welcome, because we pay for that shit.
I love Call the Midwife, so thank you for paying for it, because it's amazing.
The BBC is like part of our taxes.
Thank you, Michael, for
the BBC.
Thank you for allowing me to have one of the other greatest shows called The Midwife.
That's also why they don't have adverts in their programming, because we pay for it.
Right. But yeah, so he does bring that up, and I just had to let Michael have his moment of the BBC there. But yes, so the polar bears, yes. I think that this is probably a writer's thing of just like, oh, it's another bear. No, it's a very savage type of bear, but okay, yes. So, anything else on this section before we move on?
Is this the bit where Desmond says, oh, Locke's going to talk about it in his speech?
Nope, that's the next one.
Sorry, carry on.
The other thing about the polar bear, too, polar bears are actually huge. They're enormous.
Yes.
They're like 2 stories tall. Like they're huge. I don't know if that's actual. Like I think they're like 1 story, but like they're huge. They're giant. It's not fitting through that tiny little hole.
That's right.
Yeah, I think
like
I'm
100
exaggerating
koala
that. But
bears.
like it's huge.
All the
They're
things.
big. I'm pretty sure grizzly bears are the biggest bears, but
No, it's polar bear.
oh, is it okay?
Yeah. That's a thing that I know. It's like a teacher fact that I know.
But also, I love that the teacher fact was they're like 2 stories tall. Actually, I don't know if that's true.
I actually don't know, but like it's something like it's like a crazy height to where like
facts like people.
it's like 2 people plus tall, right? Like if Jake stood on my shoulders, we would still not be as tall as a polar bear.
Jeez.
We could be 2 humans in a trench coat, and we wouldn't be convincing to the other polar bears.
You know the episode isn't great when this is what we're having to resolve.
Teacher education right here.
Cheers.
We're moving on. We do see that Locke has come across Echo. As he stares at Echo for a second, the polar bear then decides to take Locke, which is again where I think the point is that there are more polar bears in this because they just ran from one out. Like, did you beat him back to the like cave here? But the polar bear is attacking and pulling Locke away, or not Locke away. Sorry, Echo away. Locke comes up with his handy dandy and hairspray situation, and fights off the bear.
I will give him that's a pretty good thing, right? Like the hairspray with the torch. Okay, fine.
I mean, now we know why he needs it because obviously he doesn't need it for other reasons. Anyway, moving on. He does bring Echo out. He has saved him, and this is where we get what Michael was bringing up the Desmond and Hurley thing. They were walking back to camp. He's like, "But no, Desmond, you don't understand. Like they had bags over our heads, and like it's a serious situation." And he goes, "Don't worry, it's okay." Like Locke said, he's going to take care of it in his speech, and he's like, "What speech?
Oh,
Speech." And we're going to find out what that means later. But like he's like. Huh. But I also love Hurley in this moment where he's like, what speech? All I said is something about bears. He's like not having this. I love Hurley too. I miss Hurley. But yes, we get back to Hurley and Locke. They are carrying Echo back. And Locke is talking about, well, I saw Boone in the sweat lodge. He told me to clean up my own mess. And I love this line from Charlie because we see this time and time again. He's like, sounds like it's coming from somebody that's had too many messes to clean up after. Very, very true, Charlie. You have no idea how accurate this is because we see it a lot from Locke. But we get back to the flashback here where Locke has said, I'm going to fix it. Like he hasn't even been in the greenhouse. So like I can fix this. And so he has decided the way he's going to fix this is to take Eddie out hunting. Little does poor sweet baby Eddie know that he is the prized possession of this hunt. I'm a hunter. I already knew you were going to go off on this one. But yeah, so they start chatting away. And with that, Eddie thinks that like he's like, did you talk to Mike and Jan? And he's like, yeah, I talked to him. He told me to bring you by after supper, blah, blah, blah. All good and gravy. No problems here, Eddie. It's totally fine. I'm not bringing you out here to kill you in the freaking middle of the forest, but you're fine. And so he points like he sees something. So Eddie's like, oh, do you see something? Okay, what are we hunting? Well, Eddie, turn around. It's you. The gun is now pointed at you. John is hunting you. And this is where Eddie turns around and he's like, what are you doing? What are you? You're not going to shoot me. I also love in this moment that, and this is where, sorry, Michael, I have to jump onto the Locke hate train here in a second, but they're sitting there having this question. He's like, did you pick me specifically? Did you know? And he's like, yes, we knew. We knew that you guys, we did a psych evaluation on you, like all these things. And so he's like, John, you're not going to shoot me. You're the farmer. And he's like, no, I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter.
I'm a big mean hunter. I kill things.
This is where I laugh so much at Locke because Eddie's like, sure, Jan. Like this is the man gif, and he's like walks away, and Locke's still like sitting there with the gun pointed. He's like, I'm a hunter. No, but I am a hunter. Like he's trying to convince himself that he's a hunter.
He doesn't believe that. He's crying.
He's not a hunter.
He's not.
He's trying to convince himself that he is the hunter because he has messed up yet again. But yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna stop here because we're gonna lead into our ending here. But Jake, anything you want to talk about with Desmond and Hurley? This obviously leading up, we're gonna find out what Desmond meant. But
yeah, it's fascinating because it seems like Desmond can predict things. Like perhaps there's this side effect of what happened to him, and all of a sudden he knows some things. I mean, question is like if it's just like minor things. I mean, like the speech is kind of minor in relation to maybe some other things, but like that's interesting to me. And yeah, obviously Hurley coming back, like it's great to have him back as well. And then the scene with John Locke and Eddie. And like I'm not convinced that we've seen the end of Eddie. I think that character is going to be back in some way, shape, or form because, as we know, Lost is connected everywhere. So I feel like we either will see him in more John Locke flashbacks. I could honestly see, because we still to find out how John Locke lost the ability to walk before getting to the island, how he ended up in the wheelchair. And so I think that Eddie could be involved in that now that I'm thinking about it. So
Kevin or Michael, anything you guys want to do in this section?
I think I've made fun of Locke enough.
I mean, I was hoping you would stop at one point, but
like for this section in this little, like when you were talking.
Okay, so we'll pick it back.
No, it'll still happen. It'll still happen because
Okay,
he's
cool.
still the worst.
Okay.
Every time he's on screen. Yeah, I love Jake's theories. I get so excited when he throws theories out. I will say, yeah, the big talking point from this episode is like, what the hell has happened to Desmond? I remember that being such a huge talking point online after this episode. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He saw the speech before he gave the speech, like, and also there was so much weird stuff with how the hatch blew up. And Desmond
turned the sky purple.
The sky turned purple. Desmond was kind of engulfed in this light as he turned the key. So it's like, what has happened to him? And it's such an exciting new direction of like, where does Desmond go from here? So that's the one thing in this episode where I'm like, exciting, can't wait for more.
Well, and it's been brought up, Michael, you brought this up, I think, where he looked like Jesus, and it's kind of like, oh, he's like Jesus, he just got resurrected at this point. So I find that really, really interesting, if that was an intentional thing that they did for Desmond, which is possible.
I also think, I mean, the interesting part about Desmond, too, again, like we brought it up, he's the only one that was naked. Like, he's the only one that lost his clothes and things like that. So it's just weird of, like, I remember with Michael too, like I remember like the first, like in this section right here when he like talking about the speech, I'm like, huh? And then of course what we're about to get to, like getting that revelation, you're like, oh man, how like this is where like the giddiness comes back because you're like, this was a hard episode to get through. Like you're like, okay, let's go to the next one. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Michael. Anything else on this section?
Jack and Locke are similar once again, where Locke pulls the same tricks that Jack did, where he didn't load Michael's gun, and then Locke doesn't load Eddie's. So another little similarity between those two characters.
A parallel. They've had two parallels this episode. Look at Kevin's face. He hates it. Moving on to the ending here. Charlie, they sat down for a minute to let Echo rest, to get some water because they hear a stream. And so Charlie decides to go. He's been very helpful. Charlie has been extremely helpful during this journey. He was helping.
A little sassy, but very helpful.
Very helpful. He goes and gets the water. And Locke is talking to Echo, who is unconscious. Like, so sorry, got you in this mess. I should have listened to you. Like, all these things. And then all of a sudden Echo's talking to him. He's like, it's okay, you're going to fix it. No big deal. Like, it's going to be good. And Charlie comes back. He's like, oh, here, give him the water. He's awake. And he looks and he's not awake. So vision, crazy. We know where Kevin's at, but
crazy.
For whatever reason, Echo was talking to him, but he was not. This is where they return to camp. And we get two completely randoms, which are now Nikki and Paulo, for reasons we've said earlier. And Hurley has now told the camp, which again, I love that we have like Nikki and Paulo who've been here for a total of 2.2 seconds, and she has the audacity to question our Hurley. How dare you? Like, you leave Hurley out of this, Nikki.
She crashed on September 22nd too. Like, it's fine.
Not according
just because we haven't seen her doesn't mean she hasn't been living through all of this craziness with them. I don't understand the hate.
I don't need her to question my boy Hurley. It's just not acceptable. Now, I mean, if Locke wants to question Hurley, acceptable.
Yeah.
I had to throw that in there for you. But so Hurley does tell everybody about what has happened on the other side of the island, how they had bags in their heads and the others took them and all those things. And this is where Locke's speech comes into play. And he goes into the whole thing of, we're going to go get them. It's going to be fine. The others, they're the bad guys. We're going after the others. Right now, we got to take care of Echo. So I need you to go get this. You to go get this. He is now in that leader role because the other ones aren't there. So might as well be Locke. But
if you take away Jack and Sawyer and Saeed and Sun and Kate and all them, who's the next best choice?
Charlie. With that though, as he starts to do his speech, Hurley then realizes, wait,
Deja vu.
yeah, we just had this moment with Desmond, and so he's kind of stunned in the moment, and Charlie is like, you good? You okay? And he's like, I'm having that, what's it called? Yes, deja vu. And he's like, great, when you're out of that, can you go get bandages? Like, again, Charlie killing it from start to finish here. But yeah, that is the end of the episode, because now we are like left with, Desmond throwing rocks and he doesn't care about this speech because he's already heard it. And we need to know more about this. So thank you, Lost, for leaving us with a cliffhanger as usual. So end of episode. Jake walks through this final part of the episode.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if when it was said, if it's something that's going to come up at the end of the episode or if it's something that we need to watch for in future episodes. So to see it come to fruition, I guess, by the end of the episode is pretty cool, because then now we're like, okay, is Desmond like able to see the future now? So I found that pretty cool. And then, yeah, like I've said, the two random characters that, again, are all of a sudden of some importance when we didn't formally get introduced to them till now. So I just find that odd. So I'm hoping we get some sort of explanation. Will we? I don't know.
You're going to have to keep watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole Desmond thing is just the most. I really like that the writers really wanted to make sure audiences were paying attention. It's such a stupid line, but they like make sure Charlie goes, "Nice speech," like just in case people didn't connect it. They're like, "We'll mention it was a speech. That'll trigger it."
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
The other thing too that I think that they like, it almost seems like when Hurley looks back at him, it seems like they use the same clip of him throwing the rocks, so that even to yes, this to emphasize that deja vu idea, they very much specifically call attention to Desmond and him saying the speech and the speech happening later.
I would like to point out a very huge parallel in this episode, and this is probably the biggest one we've had yet.
She's about to say something that's going to annoy at least me.
It's the biggest parallel. We have Desmond obviously throwing the rocks, right? You can get your camera ready, but this is going to blow your mind. Desmond's throwing the rocks where we almost see his ass, just like we did in Kate's ass in the rock situation.
All right, that one ended up just being funny.
I know, it's funny.
I was expecting you to say something annoying.
No,
that's fine.
I just thought rocks and almost ass. That's what happened. I mean, who's literally letting Desmond throw rocks with? Because that takes some effort. Like, we almost had a wardrobe malfunction here. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Did you forget he didn't have underwear on? Anyway, moving on. Are we done? Anything else on this last part before we go into our favorites? Okay, perfect. All right, take us off.
All right, favorite. I'm gonna go with Charlie just because he is a quote machine in this episode. My goodness. And then least favorite. Honestly, I'm just gonna go with Nikki and Paulo because we have no idea who they are. Like, I don't know who else to make it because
There's an obvious choice.
Well, I'm gonna let you have at it, Kevin, because I have made John Locke my least favorite in the past, but I'll let him slide for this one. So
yeah. No, I mean Charlie's clearly the standout. I think Desmond is super intriguing, but I mean, in terms of what we get in the episode, Charlie's hilarious. This is why we love Charlie. The worst is quite obviously John Locke. Everything that I don't like about John Locke is on display in this episode. Like the full of himself, the self-importance, the like getting fooled again, like by somebody who's obviously fooling him. Like he gets Eddie and he has him at gunpoint and not like, what are you doing? What are you here? Not like nothing. Did you look for me on purpose? Like, yes, because you're an idiot, John, because you're an idiot. So everything, if you're not sure why I don't like John Locke, just watch this episode. And everything that annoys you about him, it's right there.
Kevin, you don't like Locke? I'm shocked.
I can't stand him.
Michael, do you want to go next?
I will say there's two pretty substantial scenes where Locke takes actual accountability in this episode with Boone and with Echo, which is what you wanted. He should get some credit. He is taking accountability. Yeah, Charlie is like the saving grace of this episode. He's so funny. This is like season 1 funny Charlie. It was like a return to form for Charlie. I really liked him in this episode. And yeah, Nikki and Paolo, it's just so jarring. I think as well, like if they cast people that weren't like supermodel looking people, like they stand out so much. They just turn up as like, where do these people come from?
yeah,
They're both so gorgeous.
yeah, I know. I was like, geez, these are some really good looking new characters.
They
You
don't look
haven't
like
seen them because they've been
Oh.
putting on suntan lotion and not coming to the meetings. That's why we haven't seen them.
No, it's like they haven't been on this island at all. But anyway, I really want to make Boone my favorite character because we never get him anymore, but I can't because I mean he was here for 5 seconds and Charlie really is the star of the show. So
And had the wrong hair.
it's Charlie all the way. He's hilarious. I'm gonna make my least favorite character Echo for getting attacked by a bear. Just kidding. I'm not gonna do that because I knew you guys would have a reaction. I honestly don't really have a non-favorite character in this episode. I don't have anybody that I hate like Kevin does, obviously. But again, I start to like as much as I am on the hate Locke train. There are moments that I just feel bad for this idiot because he's so freaking gullible and stupid that I'm like, sir, you are too old to be falling for this shit every time. So you have to feel bad for him. You can't even hate on him.
I don't feel bad for him. I don't feel bad.
So if I'm forced to pick one, I guess we'll go with Mike and Jan.
They're just living their best life.
Living their best life.
They're just trying to help everybody relax. And like
No, actually, you know what? No, I'm taking this back. I'm officially making my least favorite character Mike because he said everybody was at dinner when there were clearly people working. So that's definitely Mike.
My least favorite is whoever wrote this episode.
All right. Ray,
All right.
I think we need to pull it up. It's obviously not doing very well.
Yeah, Michael, want to go over the top 10 episodes, even though we kind of
it's not making the top 10. I will die on that hill. It's not making the top 10.
Is it better than Exodus? Oh, not sure. Very close. You can see the top 10 episodes. It ain't breaking it.
Yeah, definitely not.
No.
And it's going to be 3.
Yeah.
This is going number.
Yeah, I don't have anything to defend this episode on, so over the other two, so I'm good with.
And don't worry, further instructions will keep moving itself down the list.
If we were doing like an overall list, this would be right down there with Fire and Water.
How convenient that it's also the Locke and Charlie episode.
Oh, that's convenient. All right. that is season 3, episode 3. We are moving right along in season 3 of Lost. So yeah, I'll let you guys get to your spoiler section, and we'll be back next week with season 3, episode 4 of Lost on the Tribe of Nerds.
Fuck John Locke.
Hello, everyone. We are here for the Tribe of Nerds after Jake, the spoiler section of Lost, where we spoil everything. So if you have not seen it in its entirety, get out now. Like, comment, subscribe, but get out.
You have to have seen through the end of the finale. If you have not seen the bright white light at the end of the finale, you shouldn't be here.
And,
well, way to spoil
and if you haven't watched the rest of the episodes, don't worry. Yes, this episode was bad, but it gets better, I promise.
Yeah.
Don't start with this one.
Spoiler that you're allowed to know, the show is better after this. But now, if you have not watched the rest of the show, it's time to go.
We've given you plenty of time. It's their own fault now. Major thing. Desmond, y'all. Desmond
can see the future.
Which I'm not so happy about.
Why?
Because of where it's leading, and I am very sad.
Well,
okay.
Well, Charlie would die in like 2 episodes' time if not for Desmond. So his seeing of the future
right.
him around for the rest
that
of
is
the
true.
story, that season. So
that is true.
Yeah, I hope you did leave. Charlie's gonna die, guys.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, whoopsie. Yeah, no, I'm not prepared for that. I'm still very sad. I'm still very upset about that. I'm still holding on to the fact that Desmond's vision did not come true, so that he's not actually
boat.
Yeah, like he's not actually dead. I'm still, yes, he's swimming around. He's now Aquaman. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's like the main thing to take away from this episode. Like, we are given one major storyline that's going to be so important for the rest of this season, in Desmond seeing the future. And the fantastic episode flashes before your eyes where we get Desmond going back and reliving his time with Penny, and I love that episode. I can't wait. It's so mind-bending. And this kind of sets the stage for like who Desmond's going to be. Like, all of his episodes from this point on are like these weird, like, consciousness trips of varying degrees, and like it's the prototype for the constant, which we're going to get later.
That episode
this kind of really does set up Desmond's character for the rest of the show.
Yeah, no, I love the constant. That episode is like chef's kiss, such a good episode. So it's just like phenomenal.
Opposite end of the list from this episode that we just watched.
Very opposite end of the list. Also, like, it's things like it's episodes like that I know are coming, that I'm like looking at our top 10. Like, I mean, Do No Harm is such a strong episode, and it's gonna get bumped very quickly.
Oh yeah,
it's insane. But yeah, it's crazy to think of that. What else do we have about this episode? I mean, there was not much other than the Desmond thing. Anything else that we want to spoil?
The only other thing I got is, like, this is also setting up, sadly, the next time we see Mr. Echo, it's going to be his last episode. You know, he's not going to survive long from his bear attack, which sucks. It always annoys me. It's just like, you don't really get him in season 3 at all. Like, I forget that he's just not a factor, and then he gets dragged out from the bear. He's unconscious for a decent portion of his last episode, and then he's just gone. I'm dreading that episode, like, more than the Shannon one.
See, but I'm not going to be as bad in that one. Here's the thing, like, and I talked to you guys in our spoiler section when that happened, when Echo does die. Like, my son Radek was like devastated. Like, he's like, I'm never watching the show again. I'm done. And I was like, there are people that are diehard Echo fans like that. I love Echo. I love Echo, but I'm like, okay, like, that one was like a fine one. I wasn't upset about that one. But
I'm still furious about it.
Yeah, but so is Radek.
Like,
trust me, so is Radek.
I think
I
it's the biggest,
would have
like, missed
preferred-
opportunity in the show, because like there was so much more to do with that character.
I would have preferred if it was the other way around, if Echo was the one saving Locke this episode, and then Locke didn't speak, and then Locke died in a couple episodes. That would have been the way I preferred for it to go.
We know. But yeah, no, I mean, it's also, I mean, we're getting to, like, I love that the groupings here in the airport, and I found that interesting that it's like, the one thing I wanted to bring up here is that when they get to Charlie, Claire, and the baby, Boone says there's nothing, they'll be okay at least for a little while. Mentioning poor
Yes.
Charlie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot, but there's also a lot of like foreshadowing with like that specifically that episode of The Looking Glass, with this episode. So there's a ton of it, but yeah, that was the main one that I was like, I can't bring this up except for in the spoiler section, but Jake, that's gonna be bad. But honestly, though, like I guess for me with Charlie, it was really bad for me. But like when I was watching it with the kids, they were like, because Charlie was Kaysen's absolute favorite character, and I'm like, he's never gonna survive that episode. And then he didn't cry, and I'm like, what happened here? He's like, well, they talked about it for so long, like, and I was like, oh, that's true. Like
he was prepared.
It's one of those that you're prepared for, but you're also not, because then we get the whole not Penny's boat thing. Anyway, anything else that we want to spoil today?
The only thing that I know I was thinking about that I brought up was like I thought as we were watching this that some of those bones were Dharma people from when Ben releases the gas, but then I remember they were actually in the pit. But maybe there's some of them are in the cave too.
I mean, sure.
It's got to be some like there's only so many people on
There's
there.
so many bones in there. There's so many bones.
Yeah, but I mean, is it Dharma people or is it the original others? Because there's those people that we're about to get to like later on here. So yeah, we've got the others, and then we have the others. So
actually, it probably has to be the others because how old's this bear? Like the Dharma people have been gone for.
Is that the bear? Is that the bear, or is that the smoke monster pretending to be the bear? Like, did the writers really not know what?
You're really good with this one, aren't you?
I think it was just a bear in a bad episode.
Yeah, that's entirely possible too.
Can we also like talk about the fact that this bear looks nothing like a polar bear too? It's like the word every time they bring up the polar bear, it looks nothing like it's like bad CGI or all of that. Like it's so bad. They do so many things great in Lost, but then they can't get the polar bear right. I just don't understand.
They wasted the budget on getting Boone back, and they couldn't afford the polar
Probably
bear.
he was Mr. Vampire Diaries at that point, but yes.
Like here's how big a polar bear is, right?
Yes,
it's like two people.
It's 2 stories, but maybe not twice 2 stories.
I think
they also wear dungarees, which I didn't know.
I think it can see into the second, like it would be tall enough to see in a window in a second story, but it's not like to the top of the second story.
Teacher Kevin, thank you.
Let us know your polar bear facts.
Yeah.
Yes,
what do you know about polar bears?
Oh my gosh. With that, we'll be back for another episode. Like, comment, subscribe. No spoiler comments unless you're like putting 5,000 dots so that Jay can't read it. But yes, let us know what we want to talk about here. So with that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.